What's up, guys? Welcome back to Viewer Castle. Today we're going to start off with MrBigDingDong. Castle level is a 15, so I'll jump into it on my knight. And see what he's got. Alright. So, what pull is that? It's a Jimbo pull. I think that he will de-link, but let's see. Yeah, the Jimbo's going to de-link from the Defendatron. To be able to pull a Jimbo through the wall with having a Defendatron on it, you really have to start that Defendatron off way in front of the Jimbo, because he's going to pass it because of the movement speed difference. Which maybe, I mean, might have been what you were going for because you wanted him to resurrect or something. But personally, I think the resurrecting Jimbo is one of the weakest of the specializations, because it stuns the unit that's being that's resurrecting him, and you can just kill it while he's being resurrected, and he just won't resurrect, like you noticed right there. It's not instantaneous, so it doesn't really work all that great, in my opinion. Alright, and then there's a Dr. Skull here. I think that's pretty good, but I think that... I don't know, it's not bad. It'll work okay, I guess. Will they resurrect off of skeletons? It looks like no. I mean, Dr. Skull just resurrected him into a skeleton. I was just wondering about the resurrect specialization on Smelly Warriors. I was curious. Alright. It's a dead end. Yes. Okay, I think that's fine. I mean, there's no mobs in here, so that's good. Although mines are actually like a resource that you can use in defending. It'll cut off certain space from the attacker. And sometimes it's good to have them in certain places of your castle. Alright. Hungerbot. This group seems very weird. It's only a Hungerbot and not a Scorpio, a Snotter. You're missing like a lot in this group. I don't know why it's really even here. Is this also a dead end? Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess that's why there's only a small group here, but I think that's kind of just wasted. Unless you're really going for like a one-time win, you can't really put certain parts of your castle just off without any mobs in it. Or, not without any mobs, but you can't waste any of your mob groups. Like, the next time I attack this castle, even if I time out now, I can go directly to the boss room, and it'll be a lot easier for me. Because there's 2 rooms that I don't even have to travel through, and then there's 6 points of mobs so far that I haven't had to attack. Alright, Jimbo. Again, the same issue here with the Defendatron not staying linked to the Jimbo. I don't know if that's what you're going for because you want him to resurrect, but, you know. I mean, he does do reasonable damage now. He attacks a lot quicker than he used to. I don't know. It might be an okay specialization now since the patch. I still have to test it, I guess, a little bit. At least at my level. Like, 100 damage is okay at level, what, 15 you were at? It's not amazing. It's definitely better than these Stairmasters. These Stairmasters are just very weak overall at the lower levels, and even at the higher levels now. They nerfed it a lot at level 28 and 32, to the point where I'm going to have to rebuild my castle and not use as many of them. Alright, and this boss room I've used quite a bit. The only difference is I used to use a Dr. Skull, you're using a Puppeteer. Same general concept, though. I think he was on heal. I wasn't really paying attention to the Bone Puppeteer, but either way, it's a good boss room. I'm a little indifferent about the Hungerbot being on this specialization. I think maybe it would be better if he was on like the knockdown specialization, Pinstrike, but you know, it's okay. It's a pretty good boss room. So yeah, we'll jump into number 2 in just a second. Alright, for number 2 we have Jehy. Castle level is a 21. I'm jumping into it on my archer, so it's going to be a little bit easy, but I'll try to kind of figure out exactly what I think about this castle, you know, what I think would happen if I was lower level. Alright, so this is kind of a time waster for the most part, first group, which I think is fine. It's actually better to have your time wasting groups in the beginning of your castle, because that way they don't drop health globes, or if they do drop health globes, they won't heal you up through the DPS portion of the castle. Alright, so this is a Dr. Skullpole with 5 Snotters. I'm like thinking that maybe the Snotters should have been a little bit closer together, so that he could have resurrected all of them in one go, rather than in different areas. Because the Snotters aren't really going to be all that effective by themselves, regardless. Okay. That's again another time wasting group. This one's interesting. Like, this is an obvious Dr. Skull spot, but this group is just derps. So the easiest way to deal with this is if you just go back one room and then kill all of the derps. The secondary pull where the Dr. Skull is, he'll never reach this point and he'll never try to resurrect things. The only one he might resurrect is this one. So that's the easiest way to deal with that if you see that in your own, you know, encounters with castles. Now I have a lot less of these skeletons to deal with. It's a good idea though, in terms of like, you know, the defending point of view. I don't know if I prefer derps. I know they have higher damage than Snotters, but 20 derps has a lot less chance to actually hit the player rather than, you know, Snotters. I mean, it won't matter regardless. That more times than not, you're not going to have the Snotters or the derps really do any damage. That's why I use spiders. They're 1 extra point, but they have a leap attack where they'll hit more often than not. If people don't deal with them in that specific room, they'll leap on you, and you know, all of them leaping at once. I have 10 spiders that do about 100 damage apiece. Maybe more now because everything got a DPS increase at the higher levels. It'll do 1,000 damage or so, you know? It's not bad. Alright, so that was a standard group. Zeke, was it a Zeke Archer? Yeah, Zeke Archer. A lot of people use Zeke Defendatron, but I've seen Zeke Archer as well. I think it's fine. I think maybe, well, I have to stop thinking in terms of last patch, because last patch it was like, you don't really want 2 Cyclopses charging because they're mainly for utility, but now they're actually for damage. So I guess that's okay. I guess that's actually a thing now. I'm not sure exactly how much damage they do. I do like these charges into the spinning flame trap. I think that combos pretty nicely. Alright. Yeah, I mean, I think your castle will waste enough time as well that people shouldn't be able to loot you like 3 stars. I think that I have, what, 41 seconds left, and I'm obviously 9 levels over or whatever. I think people at level like 20, 21, 22 should have trouble actually getting 3 stars and probably even 2 stars on this castle. The sustain damage is a little bit weaker, only because you have so many crabs, because they don't really do any damage whatsoever. IMAXs, again, I've always kind of said I'm not really a fan of them. They didn't really get changed this patch either. If anything, they got nerfed, because they might have like received the same nerfs as the Defendatrons on the specialization, which received a pretty big damage nerf overall. So, that's something to keep in mind. Alright, and then Count Nottingham to round it all off, which is a pretty good boss. He's quite tanky for his level. Like, regardless, it took me more than one headshot to kill that, which isn't normal for like any creature at 9 levels lower than me, so that's pretty good. So yeah, pretty good castle. And you can see I only got 2 stars as well, so I doubt that people at level 20, 21, 22 will be able to get 3 stars very easily. So yeah, we'll jump into number 3 in just a second. Alright, and finally we have Sparkaz. Castle level is a 32. So this castle may actually kill me. We'll see. I'm hoping that it's updated for patch 19. Although it's only been 1 day as of recording this since the patch has been out. I like to see, you know, unique ways of doing things. Alright, so we have the first group is, well, I pulled 2 groups accidentally because I was trying to look at it. It was some sort of Explodifier or Mr. Boom Boom, I wasn't sure. So I'm just going to poke through back here and just kind of wait for it. So it's Mr. Boom Boom. So I'll just stun him as he's coming around this corner, get in a free headshot. Alright, and it's actually a Dr. Skull. So this is the worst situation that I can be in terms of a Dr. Skull at the beginning of a castle. Because he's going to start resurrecting these bomblets over and over and over again, and it's going to be super annoying. Luckily I just killed the Defendatron, but this can turn into a really bad situation. This is why I say that Dr. Skull is pretty good now. Situations like this really help him out. Alright, I killed the Dr. Skull. Let me just get out of here. So this isn't all that dangerous now. I just have to get it down to just having the Mr. Boom Boom here. Alright, everything's dead. So that could have been worse. You can see I'm actually full life, so that's good. Still on a defending point of view, that was pretty good. I'm not sure if I would have preferred the Mr. Boom Boom or 3 Explodifiers. Probably the Mr. Boom Boom. He survives longer, so like almost either way, you get those skeletons if you double pull that. If you don't double pull that, it's a lot weaker, and it's a lot easier to take care of. But then a lot of the times it's correct to double pull Explodifiers and Mr. Boom Booms, but maybe not anymore because they walk straight to you. So, alright, so as you guys can maybe see, since I didn't show it off in my patch video, these only do about 100 damage of a tick now, whereas they used to do about 200. So it's a pretty big damage nerf that they got. Also, they tick slower, I believe? Question mark? Like, I'm not sure about that. But they definitely do less damage than they used to, which is weird because I thought they said that they slowed the attack speed, but they got a damage buff, but I don't see the damage buff at all, so I don't know. Seems like they may have screwed some things up. Same thing like with the archers that I was showing off in the patch notes. Like, although 1 second per attack seems very low, I don't know exactly what they mean, maybe attack animation or something. But it's not as big of a change as it sounds like it is, I guess. That's the only issue I have with it. So yeah, you don't really have to be as scared of these anymore as you did before. 100 damage per tick is not nearly as scary as, like, say, trap damage. So standing inside of those things for 3 ticks is about the same as, like, taking, you know, 1 or 2 ticks from this trap. So traps still are annoying to deal with. They still do a lot of damage. But I think the space control method that we use, aka Stairmasters, at least at level 32, will have to get changed to something else. My guess is probably trash mobs. I'm interested to see how much IMAXs will do. 300. That's okay. It's actually 3 times as much as a Stairmaster now, which is actually what it's supposed to be technically, since they cost 3 times as much as a Stairmaster. Alright, I might have to use a potion here. But maybe not as well. Alright, well, I don't know, I still don't really like IMAXs simply because of their resistances. They're definitely not 3 times as tanky as Stairmasters are. And they only do 3 times as much damage. It's only 1 unit, so it's easier to kind of like handle it in terms of like seeing what's going on screen, I guess. I do like this. A lot of people are going to do that same leap that I did, and you kind of leap straight into 3 or 4 bombs, which is good. The only difference is I mean, not really difference, but archers have a lot of block after they roll, so I didn't take as much damage as I probably should have. Alright. Stairmasters are still acceptable units, I just don't think we should see them as much. I don't know. I don't think they were... I guess maybe slightly, ever so slightly overpowered in terms of if we had more options. Like, I don't know. I can't say that they were overpowered because I never really had trouble getting through castles. I guess other people did though. Because back when Explodifiers and Mr. Boom Booms were really good, we saw those as well as Stairmasters. So I feel like if we just buffed everything else, we would see a good variety. It's just everything has to kind of be within the same like ballpark in terms of power. Zeeks are really strong now. Like they can one-shot you, not one-shot, but they can two-shot you. So if you get hit by one bolt, you almost always have to potion unless the Zeke is dead. Like this is the one good thing about this patch. I mean, not one good thing, there's a couple good things about it, but the fact that Zeeks will almost always two-shot an archer is really quite strong. You have to be, they're a lot more dangerous than they used to be. I still think they're probably better on headshot just because of that fact. They used to almost always three-shot me, but they almost always two-shot me now, so it's a big change, and like that's without critting. I think if they crit, they might even be able to one-shot you, to be honest. I just used a potion that I really didn't need to use, but so I think probably not this week, but next week I will register into a competition and I will redo my entire castle beforehand and do the same thing that I did last time. I'll redo my castle, I'll do the competition, and then after the competition is over I will release the videos. I think that's probably the best way. I have some ideas for what I want to do, so it'll be interesting. I don't know exactly how it's all going to work out. Last competition I actually had a pretty good castle, so I finished, what, second place, I think? Yeah, right behind Zazik. And I think we were tied for defense, but he beat me by one, I think, on attack. Is that right? Actually, I don't think so. Maybe he was one ahead on defense, because my attack was, I think, almost perfect. I think I lost to one person. Or no, I lost to two people. One of them was a timeout because of a stuck minion. That was it. So maybe he did beat me on attacking. Zezik's a really good attacker, I have to say. He's probably one of the best. Better than me. Alright, so back to this castle. This is actually pretty scary as well, because I know he attacks quicker than he used to. Just ever so slightly. He's still relatively easy to get away from, though. Even when enraged. And also bear traps still shut him down pretty heavily. Alright, is that gonna work? Cool. So there's a battering ram coming. This can be a little scary as well. Battering rams do about 800 damage when they hit with a charge, which is pretty good for a 4-point unit. And they're somewhat tanky, like they're not bad. Same as Hunger Bots, you'll notice they take an entire volley now after the hotfix, which is quite good. I think almost every unit needs to survive at least one AoE attack, or else it's not worth using. I guess maybe another problem that could be looked at is mana as well, though. Maybe you have too much mana, so you can volley every group every single time, because your cooldown will be done and all of that. So maybe volley itself or mana itself needs to be looked at for the archer and possibly mage, because mage probably has the same like strength of AoE. He just has to use 2 abilities rather than 1 to get the full effect out of it. Alright, and then drop a volley, and everything will walk through it. This is one easy way of killing Stairmasters, is if you have enough space between you and them, they just won't fire, they'll just walk towards you. That's why they're only useful in small areas. But that's not really as necessary anymore, because I don't think we're going to see a ton of Stairmasters anymore, but we'll see. I still had to use all of my potions for this castle, and it had a lot of Stairmasters in it, so... That being said, I did use them kind of weird. Some spots I didn't really have to. I was just playing extra safe, I guess. I could still die to this, but it's unlikely now, because I'm out of trap range. Alright. Yeah, this was a pretty good castle, though. I think probably maybe too many Stairmasters for this specific patch. Maybe you haven't changed everything or changed anything yet. I did like the Zeke, though, because those things are super scary now. Like, I think a boss room with 2 Zekes and a Scorpio is going to be super strong now. Because if the Scorpio ever hits you and the Zekes are still alive, I don't know, because you can volley it, so, I mean, you probably would just drop the volley and then roll and try to run like hell to get away. But if the Scorpios did hit you, and you got hit by both of the Zekes once, you would die, which is pretty strong. Anyway, this is number 3, so we'll end the video. As always, if you guys enjoy what I do, please subscribe. If you want to be a part of Eurocastles, you can email me at frenzycastleruns@hotmail.com. There's a link in the description to that, a link in the description to a spreadsheet that you can check to see when your castle is going to get run relatively. Generally, I do about 1 a day. Or at least upload 1 a day, unless I have, you know, another video set up like a patch or a new castle rebuild or something like that. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.